So today's sermon is going to be about the singularity and Kurzweil's singularity. And I think I will pull up, you just have to be patient with me for a moment. I'm going to pull up the graphics that I have to show you. But I don't have, like I said, I don't have a monitor, so you have to be patient with me to pull up these graphics. I have one graphic in particular here, which is this black hole situation. If you're on Instagram, you can't see it. Hello, everyone. Hello, Konyan. So this black hole is, we're talking about the singularity, and there's two different types of singularities. There's a Kurzweil singularity and a black hole singularity, and then there's actually three types because there's the Unicult singularity. There's my idea of a singularity, which is new and very exciting, and I think honestly the right one. Not that black holes aren't right, but and not that Kurzweil's not right either. I just think it's a piece of the puzzle. I think it's putting it together. So the idea of a black hole singularity is this point of no return. The singularity is the point where the black hole actually collapses space and time into this singular moment of nothingness and then spits it back out into, many people believe, a sun. Like, I think a lot of people believe that suns are the other side of a black hole. So it sucks all this light out of the universe and then blasts it out. Whether or not that idea is totally correct as far as astrophysics is concerned isn't really important because we're using it as a metaphor for our spiritual evolution on this planet. So where we are right now, this is what I'm trying to convey to you today, is the discomfort of what we're about to experience. So not that you should be worried or afraid, but just so that you're prepared to open-mindedly enter into this space of incredible transformation. I've been using the description of what it's like to be a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, and in the cocoon, you're turning completely into goo. So where are we right now? We've just wrapped ourselves in the cocoon, and we're starting to turn to goo, and it's really scary. It's really scary because you're like, wait, but I'm this and I'm that and I know this and I know that, and like my world is predicated on this information, and I have this much money and I have this house and I'm supposed to live in this area and I'm supposed to do this and I'm supposed to do that. And it's like we can already feel the fact that our lives are going to dramatically change in the next few years, and that is really scary because we're actually having to disintegrate our entire egos. We're having to disintegrate the entire idea that we are who we think we are based on these earthly realities, because we're entering into a new earth, we're entering into a new world. This is a really good thing. This is like the best possible thing that could happen. You have to trust me on that, because we're talking about entering into the age of truth. What does it mean to be someone with a fancy car? What does it mean to be someone with fancy wardrobe? What does it mean to be somebody who has all their debt paid off? You know, these are all old ways of thinking. What does it mean to be a kind person? What does it mean to have a strong community? What does it mean to have a connection to the earth? What does it mean to be able to do anything you want every day? Those are the paradigms of New Earth. So these are actually really beautiful, beneficial realities that we're entering into, but it's really scary because our world has been predicated on disillusioning us from that reality so that we shy away from the truth. So where are we in this case? If we're talking about this as a black hole singularity, we're just entering into the event horizon. This is the point of no return. This is the point where we're getting sucked in. Everyone's saying, well, I don't think we're going to be able to go back to normal after this. And you're right, because we're about to go into a really incredible portal. It's going to take several years, and it's not going to go any faster than we can maintain on this planet. But the more work that you can do to be grounded and okay with these changes, the more rapidly we will exit out of this uncomfortable space into a new space of joy and safety and comfort. But I'm here to tell you that this is about to be one of the most strange and confusing periods of human history, and we've already seen that. So this is just the idea of the singularity as far as black holes are concerned. It's just one way of thinking about it. And there's Kurzweil's idea of the singularity, which I don't have. Actually, hang on one second. I'll get the picture up here. It's really big. Hang on. Let me make it smaller. I don't have a monitor over there. That's why I'm not on camera. Okay, this is Kurzweil's Singularity. So Kurzweil basically has the idea that his idea is technological. So he's basically saying, we've got Moore's law, we've got this graph of exponential growth, we've got this idea that people are ascending technologically, and it's an exponential graph, which means that it doubles. If you guys have ever had that, I'm trying to get on camera, sorry. If you guys have ever had that story of like the kid who goes to the old man and then he gives them a penny and then he's like, I'll double this every day. Is that a good deal? And you're like, no, you only have like 2 pennies, and you only have 4 pennies, and then you realize that like after like 30 days or whatever, you'd be a millionaire. This is the idea of exponential growth. So it can become very overwhelming very quickly. So Kurzweil's singularity is really important to discuss because we are in a point of exponential growth. So what Kurzweil believes is that we're going to reach a point where human intellect and machine intelligence converge, and then machine intelligence supersedes human intelligence, and that creates a technological future unlike any that we could previously have comprehended. Kurzweil's not wrong. It's just that paired with the technological singularity, we absolutely must have, this is how I used to think about it, we cannot, like, we would be limited, universally speaking, to have the technology on the other side of the singularity without without a spiritual companion to it. Like, we have to undergo, because like think about like the types of technology that could potentially exist, all the doomsday scenarios of technology. I don't think that is even universally allowed, because we would simply destroy this planet, we would destroy ourselves. And I think that there is divine intervention happening to prevent that from happening. Whether or not you believe that doesn't matter. That's just what I believe. But I used to say, okay, so the technological singularity is driving this situation, and then we have to have a spiritual singularity following. But what I understand now is that the technological singularity is a result of the spiritual singularity. And I'll tell you what I mean in just a second. Let me take this picture off the screen. Okay, so what does it mean to have a spiritual singularity? What does it mean to have a technological singularity? It means that we are going into a space of exponential growth. This space of exponential growth becomes doubled to the point where we're very uncomfortable, becomes doubled to the point where we don't know what's happening, becomes doubled very quickly again to the point where we are just absolute goo. We have no idea what's happening. So we are already seeing the effects of this. If you start looking into conspiracies about coronavirus, for instance, and you start realizing how many people have different ideas. They say it's not a real disease. They say it's been man-made. They say it's created by 5G. They say Trump's going to heal it with his mind. There's so many conspiracies about coronavirus that we literally, like, once you start looking into it, like, you almost can't even figure out what could possibly be true, because it's in this insane space of, like, complete not knowing. And, like, that is what we're going to be feeling more and more and more. So I'm gonna be giving you tools to deal with that energy and that space. As we go into this space of the absolute quantumization of our realities into a singular point of not knowing what's going on, not knowing who we are, not knowing what even is life, we have to understand that is our growing point. That is our point of formless nothing. We are literally going to enter into a state of formless nothing so that we can consciously define our future. Let me know if you think that sounds comfortable. I'm very into change and I'm very into growth, but that is a really extreme version. We're entering into a really extreme version of growth. If you're already on the spiritual path, you understand what it's like to go through these extreme periods of growth. But even that is nothing compared to what's coming up. I'm not saying this to scare you, because there's going to be great, amazing, beautiful rewards. We're going to see incredible things on this planet. And when I'm talking about the spiritual singularity, what I'm talking about is how it's actually going to be driving our technological singularity. I think it's so much more than machine intelligence. Like, the point of the singularity is that we're crossing over the threshold of what we could ever possibly imagine to be real. And that is entering into the realm of the New Age. That's entering into the realm of levitation, of telekinesis, of telepathy, of generating power without any machinery, any equipment. That's renewable resources that are perfectly aligned, that are, like, if you could imagine the most perfect reality ever, right? Like, a lot of people think of their idea of a good reality, and they think, well, I guess I just have to sacrifice convenience, or I have to sacrifice, consumerism, and I have to get back to the land and just kind of live in this barter way, and I have to just, like, not have TV or internet. But that's not true. Like, we can actually have it all in a way that is truly beneficial and truly harmonious. And so these are the things that are beyond our comprehension because of what has been restricting us in our reality presently. So as we enter into the technological singularity and the spiritual singularity, we're going to see a lot of things rapidly rising and falling, being created and taken down, being conceptualized and destroyed. It's going to be an incredible time. I think it's an amazing time to make art, because I think whatever art you capture during this time is going to be like unlike any other art that will ever exist on Earth. It's going to be like a period of art that I got the chills thinking about it. Like, when future people look back on all the art of humanity, like, this section is like a golden era of art, because we have to turn to these tools of expression to attempt to understand what we're going to be going through. So how can you prepare for this? Already we're feeling the effects. Already we're in the event horizon. We're being sucked into this reality. I don't know how long it's going to take. Like I said, I think it will be very uncomfortable. I don't think it's going to go faster than our minds can possibly comprehend. But I do think it's going to be pretty uncomfortable as far as not knowing what is really happening. If you have a clear vision of yourself and your future, you have a clear vision of what you really want to experience, you have a clear vision of the world you want to create, you have a clear understanding of your true heart, you have a clear understanding of your community and who you want to be around, the types of people you want to be around, the types of person you want to be, then you're going to be in a much better position to have a more comfortable reality. Additionally, we're going to have to practice letting go and practice having an incredibly open mind. If you hate Trump and you hate all the people who hate Trump, you're going to be challenged. And if you love Trump and you think he's like a master of reality, you're going to be challenged. This is just one example, the political sphere, because we have learned to attach so much to who we are politically. We've learned so much to fall into a certain camp and say, well, this is the camp that I believe in. I identify myself this way. If you're attached to gender, if you're attached to money, if you're attached to materialism, it's all the same situation. You're going to have to open up your mind and recognize the benefits and realities of other situations. One thing that we're going to be seeing in this time is the idea of connectivity, of the potential for spiritual technologies, conscious technologies. What are those? Those are technologies that you use just with your mind, just with your body. We have the ability to do everything we have technologically just with our own minds, with our own bodies. Technology is actually a shadow reality, like a material reality. It's an off-putting of our true abilities, which are actually much more beneficial and much more fulfilling than the technological realities. Not that we can't have technology, but as we're ascending, we're going to be learning to tune into our own psychic abilities, our own abilities to create frequencies that harmonize our lives. How do you do that? You start with your thoughts, you start with your meditations and your habits, exercising, eating healthy. All of these things are going to become even more important, and you're going to start to feel the effects at an even more intense rate. If you've already been awakened, if you've already opened your third eye, you've already aligned your chakras, you've been on the spiritual journey for a while, you know that your diet changes as you go along this path. And so any of those experiences that you've had where your diet has changed, where your habits have changed, where you've had to let go of who you thought you were, you had to let go of things you were clinging to. You know how this is going to feel, and you are uniquely positioned to be a spiritual leader during this time. It's up to you to help your friends and family, and maybe even build an audience to help guide people who are in your same frequency. As much as I want to see Unicult as the world's #1 religion, I also understand that we are each spiritual leaders, and I don't resonate with every single person. And you resonate with a group of people who might not resonate with me. So you have an important mission here to lead spiritually and help people who are going through this, who might not have ever had any experience having visions, having telepathy, having their spine aligned and receiving downloads, or having any kind of magical or mystical realities. It's up to us to slowly introduce these concepts to people who might have otherwise been in the dark. So when we're talking about this singularity, and we're talking about our own abilities and our own comfort, I just want you to remember that every single day is going to be different. There will be times when you are so confused, and please remember what I'm saying right now. There will be times when you are so confused, you're so lost, you don't know what you're supposed to do, you don't know who you are, and know that that is part of the spiritual journey at this time. Know that so many other people are experiencing that, and know that literally the next day, the next week, your life will be radically different. We're in a time of instant manifestation, so however you focus your thoughts, you will create that reality rapidly. During this time, it will be scary. During this time, it will be lonely. During this time, it will be isolating. But I am here to tell you that if you stick with it, if you just hang on, that you will see the most beautiful earth that has ever existed. You will see one of the most beautiful planets that could ever exist in all of space. Because Earth, pretty much I've asked my guides about darkness, and I've never understood darkness. Like, what's the point of darkness? I don't see it as the opposite of light. I see it just more as a denser reality. And my guides said this. They said that the denser reality, like, all beings prefer to be in the light. As you start your journey of light, like, we have this natural inclination to go towards the light, like a moth almost. So as we go up in towards the light, we notice that it feels better, that we are healthier, that we're more happy, that everyone prefers the light. But when the darkness exists, it acts as a platform from which to stand on. So it actually, sometimes, if you have a person, and you might notice this in your own life, if you have friends or family who have been through really hard times and have come out of it, they're some of the deepest, kindest, most intelligent people that you might know. Whereas if someone has a life of ease, maybe they haven't been exposed to the different levels of darkness, and they might be kind of a simple person. So the people who have really intense hardships, they go down, 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 and then that increases their threshold of ability. So then as much darkness as you potentially have that much light. So Earth has, for whatever reason, that's how it is. I don't really fully understand that. But Earth itself has gone so deep down and so deep dark that our threshold of potential for creating a really positive, harmonious future, because we've learned so much from this darkness about so many things, our potential future is insane. It's super high. So you have to have hope. You have to know that this is really going to happen. We really will enter into this beautiful, divine, utopian paradise of whatever you want to create. We can create it, and we can work together. You are not alone. So the spiritual singularity is happening. It's going to be a rapid shift. We're going to enter into this exponential growth period. We already are in it, which is why things are happening so fast. People tweet as a joke, the singularity is moving too quickly. And that's going to be a feeling. You're going to feel maybe like car sick or like motion sick. And what I can tell you is meditate, ground yourself, surround yourself with people who understand you, who you understand, and drink lots of unfluoridated, unchlorinated water. You need to stay hydrated during this time, and eat fruits and vegetables, preferably ones that you've grown yourself. Is there going to be another recession, Dara asks. We're going to get rid of money. Like, I'm not just talking about like a slight shift in your reality where like you're able to work from home after this. And I'm not saying that just coronavirus is going to be the cause of this. We're going to see COVID-19 happen, and we're going to see that pass, and then we're going to see other shifts happen. We're going to see really big, massive shifts. Whereas before we had things happening like every couple of years, it's going to start happening every couple of months, it's going to start happening every couple of weeks, and eventually it's going to be this total eruption of every couple of days, every couple of hours, every couple of minutes, every couple of seconds, and then it'll catalyze us onto the other side of this. It would make you so happy to not deal with money, right? And this is part of the new world we have to start conceptualizing, we have to start imagining. What would it look like if everyone just had access to everything that they needed, and it was completely renewable, and it could disintegrate at any moment if you wanted it to, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. And and this is the thing, we are so much in control of what's happening right now. We are in a time of instant manifestation. And this is actually sort of a formless playground that we're entering into. So we get to say, what does it look like if I continue paying my rent? What does it look like if I don't pay my rent? What does it look like if I say, you know what, I'm never going back to work? What does it look like if I do go back to work? And we get to experiment, and we get to decide what feels best to us. I'm not saying all work is bad. I'm not saying there can't be systems of exchange. I'm saying let's figure out what is the best system of exchange, what is the best way to do work, what is the best reality that can possibly exist, where everyone has potential to do whatever they want. How do you deal with suicide ideation at the time when darkness is overwhelming? Like I said, I saw a chart on the Unicult Discord server the other day. It was such a good chart. It was like, when you're suicidal, you think you want to end your life, but what you really want to end is, a certain situation or a certain feeling. There's all these other things that actually are changeable. And what was the words? Radical transformation. There's a point of radical transformation that is needed when you're in that state. And it's like, maybe you're thinking of, this isn't my idea, someone else told me this, but it's true. So maybe you're thinking of dying as a point of transforming your reality into something higher, something better, something different. But realize that you can do that on Earth. You can do that in your body. That's something that when I was suicidal, I didn't realize. I didn't have hope that I could radically transform my reality into the one that I wanted, because I didn't think anyone would accept who I really am. But here I am, and I'm living it because I just had to overcome those feelings and be brave. Reach out to other people, and just know that life is changing really fast. So whatever you're upset about, just know that there's hope for it to transform. Yes, thank you. Thank you all for joining. I hope that this sermon has been helpful, and this is one that I think that you'll really need to look back on, maybe just bookmark this or save it, because this idea of the singularity and entering into this formless nothing and being very confused and not knowing which way is up is actually part of our divine growth on this planet, and we can't enter into Unitopia without it. So when you feel those things, remember that this is a planetary situation. We are unified now. This is why COVID-19 is one example of this. The entire world is going through the same thing at the same time, because this is a planetary situation. You are not alone in these feelings. So please know that you can join Unicult. You can reach out to your friends. We have a community of people who are deeply aware of these realities and working hard to create the life that they want. And you just have to be open-minded to what life could potentially look like. All right, uni bless. I hope you all have a really wonderful day.